In today's video we are looking at Stray. Now Stray is a cat game where you basically play as a cat and solve puzzles and go rounds and solve missions and what have you, and it's quite an interesting game. If you haven't had a go at it yet, I would certainly buy it and have a go at it. It's a great game. I'm really enjoying it so far. But today we'll be looking at 4 different graphics cards to see what level of performance you're going to get with each graphics card. So our test specification is a Intel i3 12100F with 16GB of RAM clocked at 3200 MHz. The 4 graphics cards are the 750 Ti, the 1050 Ti, the 1650 Super and the RTX 3050. So let's jump right into those benchmarks now. The 750 Ti at low settings scored an average of 29 and a minimum of 26 and a maximum of 34. Moving on to the medium settings, it scored a 28 average with a minimum of 23 and a maximum of 38. And on to the high settings, it scored an average of 20, a minimum of 17 and a maximum of 30. So as we can see here, the 750 Ti running at 1080p low settings is just about playable at 30 FPS average. Now with Stray I would say 30 FPS is perfectly fine actually, because 60 FPS is what you need for a first person shooter game. So this is a slow and puzzle type game, so you're not really going to need anything amazing in terms of frame rate, so 30 FPS should be enough. Moving on to the 1050 Ti, 1080p low, an average of 51, a minimum of 38 and a maximum of 70. And the 1080p medium was an average of 47, a minimum of 40 and a maximum of 66. And the 1080p high was an average of 34, a minimum of 28 and a maximum of 45. So as we can see here, the 1050 Ti is pretty much fine at any setting that you want. I would probably say even high if you really wanted to, you could go to, although I'd say probably optimally I would say 1080p medium for the GTX 1050 Ti is probably the optimum settings I would go with. Now moving on to the GTX 1650 Super. We have a 1080p low, an average of 88, a minimum of 75 and a maximum of 125. 1080p medium, an average of 83, a minimum of 68 and a maximum of 155. And 1080p high, an average of 59, a minimum of 52 and a maximum of 81. So 1080p high on the 1650 Super is perfectly doable, 60 FPS average frame rate, so that's what I would go with the 1650 Super. And now the RTX 3050, you pretty much know where this is going, because it is quite a better graphics card compared to the other 3, but we'll go through it anyway. So RTX 3050, 1080p low, an average of 122, a minimum of 102 and a maximum of 171. The medium results were an average of 116, a minimum of 92 and a maximum of 159. The 1080p high results was an average of 88, a minimum of 70 and a maximum of 120. So 1080p high, really good performance here, easily doable, really great performance. You could even go potentially up to 1440p if you wanted to, or if you had that capability with your monitor, then I would certainly say look at towards 1440p even with the RTX 3050. And the GTX 1070 is about going to be the same roundabout as this sort of graphics card, so if you've got a GTX 1070 as well, that's going to perform very well with this game. Overall this game isn't really a performance hog, you know, it is pretty decent in terms of, you know, there is quite a good scenery and the graphics are quite good, but at the same time it is quite optimized, and it is quite an easy title to run for more or less every graphics card, apart from maybe the 2 Gigabyte cards, which it might be a little bit more struggling on. But I would say any kind of decent 4 Gigabyte card that you've had within the last sort of 5 to 6 years is going to be perfectly fine for Stray. So I hope you all like this little video. Please drop us a like if you did, and think about subscribing if you want to see future content on this channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.